Welcome, Combat Commanders. We are in the March ladder competition that Patrick Pence puts on for the huge number of players on the Discord server and through Board Game Geek. It's a wonderful, wonderful venue to learn the game, to play great players, positively minded players, and guys that know what the hell they're doing, unlike me. So this month we have Scenario 89, Beneath a Steel Sky. My opponent is Chris G, and never played him before. He says he just picked up the game. So now we have at least 2 noobs playing the game. And so maybe I have a chance to win this game. Allied forces are small. German forces are relatively small, as you see by the setups. Here, they're mostly all 5.54s for the British forces. The lines are pretty useful. They've got the box movement firepower. But anyway, year's 1940. Victory VP marker for the Allies is 10. They start off with 2 big victory point locations plus a couple bonuses. Postures, the Axis is attacking and the Allies are defending, as you see on the left-hand side. Axis have the initiative. A couple of objective chits, 3 and 4. 3 is worth 3 victory points. 4 is worth 4 victory points. So that's a nice 7-point boost. And again, they start with 10, so they just get 3 extra points on top of that. Kind of tough to objectively look at and take. So we'll get into the VPs here in a second based upon my setup. Setups are Axis gets to set up on board 3 hexes deep. We'll see that in a second. And the Allies are 10 hexes deep. So not quite hugely extensive. Essentially, they cover the building J4. So lots of different places where you could set up as the British, depending on what your strategy is and depending on what you think the Germans might try to accomplish. First turn goes to the Axis. Surrender markers are 8 and 6, Axis Allies respectively. Special rules are pretty crazy in this one, to be honest with you. Bombing raid, place a spotting round marker on space 3 of the time track, which is what this is for here. So what this means is from the moment the time marker enters the 3 space until the end of the game, all sniper triggers are resolved with a 10 firepower attack against all units in a random hex, which will be your sniper hex, essentially. So the sniper triggers, from what we interpret, turns into a blast, essentially a 10 firepower attack. Now, to be honest with you, a sniper by itself can affect multiple hexes, and yet the blast only affects 1. So it kind of reduces the snipers later in the game. And a 10 firepower attack, you can survive, because like if you're in a building, that's a 10-3, so that's almost an even roll. So not too bad, but it's very interesting. But what it does do, scenario special rule number 2, it essentially destroys buildings, turns them into wire. Doesn't remove the building per se, but it turns it into rubble and wire, which makes it very difficult to move. And if it's in the open ground or non-building hex, which is essentially the whole map, right? Well, I guess the orchards are there. It will remove any fortifications there and place a foxholes, which can be useful at times. So run for cover, objective chit W shows up on the board. Turn 5, exit points are double. When I saw this, it's like, hey, that's pretty cool, but I don't want to have to deal with 2 rounds of snipers going off and killing my guy. So you'll see what I do here. Primarily, I see that. It's like, okay, that's nice. That's something you could look forward to. But if I get the jump on that, then I could avoid some of that snipers, because once you reach this part of the game, it goes very fast, and I don't want to be behind the 8 ball. Plentiful fuel after the allied players. This is crazy. You see the Molotov cocktails they have here? We've got one with Percival, and we've got the other two with these fine units right here in the center building. So those, what we do with the Molotov cocktails, after the allied player attacks with a Molotov cocktail, they essentially place them on the reinforcement track, and they'll get them back next turn, and they can put it anywhere where a unit does not have a support weapon of any kind. So, but if the allied unit gets killed in close combat, then the German can take the Molotov cocktail for pretty much a one-time use, and then is discarded. And then debris, allied player sets up 3 wire after the Axis has set up. So the Axis gets to set up, and the 3 wire show up wherever the allied player wishes. So in my perspective, I'm not going to access the victory point, the points up here. You guys kind of know what that is. And when we hit the turn, anytime this comes into play, I'll review it. But for now, I'm just going to lower the map down to here to maximize the map coverage. So I'm going to throw my Germans on the map because he could place wire anywhere. It's like, if I cram them all down the bottom, he could just really teeter me off there. If I cram him at the top, he could really tunnel me. So for that aspect, I just essentially jam everybody in the middle. I'm just going to do a quick page step through the setup. Pretty much cram everybody in the middle. I want all my setups. I want to have all my guys have a leader next to them. You know, so if a leader's activated, somebody else gets to move. I hate moving one unit with a move order or advance for that matter. Hey, Stu, what are you doing down here with the mortar? Why is it in a building? I tend to move him up a little bit. Maybe move him up into J9 so he can start covering in case the British wants to run off the place that way or give me more smoke cover. But as you'll see throughout the game, pretty much the mortar stays there. Why? Because you can't move very far with that big mortar right there. But I placed the mortar down here. I'm not using it as an offensive weapon. I'm using it as a movement enabler. He's going to be dropping smoke along this area here. Yeah, it's going to be like a 10 to roll or something because the hindrance will be a problem. But if necessary, I can drop some smoke into a couple key hexes right through here. And then we can have, you know, my units be able to run off the board, hopefully. You know, most of his units are cored in the center. The top, I'm not going to bother with. That's kind of out of the way. This might be a, hey, I'm going to move to get off the board guy. So, to be honest with you, he has fewer units than me. I'm not going to worry too much about him moving off. If he moves off, then I can move off, so they'll cancel. And if he moves off, then the victory point hexes back here become available to capture. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's like, yeah, he could do that, but his power is in the Molotov cocktails, and they're all in the center building, and that's a bad place to be, and it's not worth anything. 3 and 4 are the only ones worth of value. Of course, you know, you hit that 10-point victory point shit coming up, you know, whatever. I've lost a couple games or just been really behind the 8 ball when that comes up. I'm not a big fan of that VP1, but that building is difficult to capture, period. So I don't intend to capture it ever. I essentially kind of intend to bypass it. But we'll see how it moves. And he puts his wire right in the front. So this is bad, which means I'm going to have to go through the wire here to enter the center hex. And to be able to go across this, it will take a couple of move actions or advance actions. You got to have a lot of recovers if you're going to move here or here, because he's going to blast you with these Molotov cocktails. Remember the Molotov cocktails? They have no TEM associated with those units. So they are very effective in breaking units. No building modifiers or no nothing. So again, pretty much I just have LMGs. I got a plethora of LMGs, so hopefully that sustained fire can come into play. Again, I'm just going to move forward, see how he reacts, and go from there. Again, the smoke down here is going to be targeting a couple areas here if necessary, or maybe even this hex if he moves into it. And so therefore my guys can come this way, see how he reacts. Does he react by moving units here, here? Don't know. He probably won't move the leader there because he's already got one. So not going to worry about that. I think Percival's going to be in the middle. And so that's too much. This is way too much for the Germans to handle. Attacking board 5 or building 5 there, I get, in my opinion, is pretty much suicide considering the game's only 7 turns long. And you need to come, if you're going to make up those 10 points, you need to come back here and get these or move off the board. The reason why I want to choose the bottom to move off the board is that so let's get on with it. See how this thing progresses. I think we just start off drawing cards as normal. And then the action will start jumping around here pretty quick. We drop a smoke counter. 1's kind of garbage considering the orchard is already 2, but we're just hauling ass. Activate. Activate and move. And those are just the beeps. You might hear some sounds, but I'm just kind of going to rush through it. Everyone moving and advancing. See what the reaction is. Not much. Move again. I'm just going to put the pressure on to see how he moves, because I think I have a couple decent cards in my hand. I don't think I have ambushes till late in the game. But maximize my firepower in case he wants to move up. He doesn't have a Molotov, so we're happy. He gets beat up. I do get a satchel charge guy down here. Pioneer unit early in the game. And he goes into a random hex or adjacent to it. So that's a nice sweet spot. I don't want to take on Percival, but I'll beat up the LMG guy. So, and he does have a satchel charge, good close range, and the Pioneer is pretty potent. And best of all, he's at an objective hex. So he jumps me. Probably the best opportunity because that way I might not be holding ambush cards. And I think we just duke it out. He gets a hero out of it, but I do get to eliminate his unit. So on point wise, you get 8 points. I get to 2 more points on top of him, which is kind of like the bonus points he starts with in the game. Lyndhurst, as a result, that building clears out. I score the VP on it. And again, that reduces it down to 2. So we're looking at an even game. He has to react to the satchel charge guy. And unfortunately, he has a lot of firepower. So that in and of itself is pretty crazy, pretty strong, which allows the guys at the bottom to enter the building and get shot and just move. I mean, at this point, if he wants to jump me in close combat and kill me, I think I've got a couple cards. The Germans have really good cards for offensive movement stuff. Pfeiffer, I think he's trying to drop some more smoke, or actually tries an attack. He missed most of the time. So, again, nobody in line of sight up here. I run up here and grab this spot here. It is really isolated up here. So the only way to get to it is through here. So my plan was to move here and move back to building 3 and then let everyone try and run by, because it's just not going to be occupied. I jumped extra guys into the close combat here. I just need the Lyndhurst dead. I just need him dead. I will take a team loss to get rid of that unit. And if he should happen to have some ambush markers, I think he did. It will reduce one of my guys, and so that will give me essentially even. I'll take it even odds with the card. He loses. I lose a line unit, and he's broken. So again, we're looking at now 9 points for the Germans early on. So I got lucky here, super lucky. But if I didn't, I mean, I'd still have this location pressuring 3, which might pull Percival off down and Smythe. So that might have opened the board. but it wouldn't have been as quick, which is everything in Combat Commander's speed. So I'm just going to occupy the building to kind of force him to come get it. And I've got a hell of a close combat task force there with machine guns and the whole 9 yards. The rifle unit down here, scared as shit because that Molotov cocktail Percival's going to come in and kill him. I need to get him gone. So again, reactions from the Brits. Shooting my guys up. I didn't really have a lot of move cards in this game, to be honest with you. And these guys just go back and forth at each other for a couple of times. Not much happens. Not much happens. He does get a free unit down here, the guards unit. Like I got, he got reinforcements. We actually got a decent number of reinforcements in this game. So that was always tenuous because you never know when these guys are going to pop up. And that's a superb unit because you can move shots, running back. He's just running back here a little far to put firepower on here. But to be honest with you, I mean, that's only 8 firepower, and the Pioneer unit has 7, so it's really not that much of a difference. I think this was a mistake on my part. Maybe keep up here to fire on him. But, again, he's got to burn a card to get to me, and then I could fire, and then maybe move off. This is a return a dead unit onto the board, which keeps my surrender marker low, essentially 0. He's in the middle of nowhere, suppressed, so mines show up. He gets routed. I come down here to pressure the guards unit. He runs, coming back here. Actually, a really good move to block my end move. I wanted to move my satchel charge guy out, drop smoke, and get off the board, so we can move, so we can bring him back on, because the satchel charge does nothing in a corner. It doesn't have a range to do anything. So I wanted to bring the satchel charge into the game, quite possibly into the center building if he's going to move Percival out. Try to get some sort of action going on here. Reinforce my guys up there. We do a close combat. I get lucky. I think I had one ambush, and I got lucky on the roll. So close combat did me good this particular game. We got a time event. Now we're on the spotting round. We're on turn 3 already. And now you'll see the explosions. The sniper comes down here, rubbles this immediately with a spotting round. I try to fire. We just go fire back and forth. Nothing really happens up in the upper left. And then Percival's going to come to threaten. He gets another unit, a free unit from the events. Buildings are destroyed. That's the off-board artillery special rule, blowing up rubble. This actually helps me because it stops Percival from splitting his move or some sort of move split to get behind him. So I essentially have a nice one-way route out the building. At this point, I take the opportunity because Percival's up and about and Smythe is behind here to run behind the building. I think I had 2 moves in my hand at that time. And so I got them both off, put them in the next turn's reinforcement, and now I'm jumped up to 16 points. Again, now if I just can't die. Even if I lose both of these, that'll be about 14, so I'll still be, essentially it'll be even at that point. Maybe a little ahead. So he'll run off with another move, some more free points. Oop, let me get this oriented. More free points coming. I got to take the points. And again, you say, Stu, why don't you wait until it doubles? It's not going to double till next turn, and I don't want to give him the chance to react to get some guys covering that exit. I'm taking my free points now. Look how many points that is. 2, 4, 6, 8 points. I'll just take it 8 points now. And then maybe try and get some doubles later. But 8 points are 8 points. And again, that puts the pressure on. But that was just the way I played it. I was in an opportunity instance. We exchanged fire a couple times up there. I break him here, expecting him to have a he just gets a deck reroll, so he'll probably recover. But I'll make him burn the card anyway. And then he blasts my guys, and I happen to hopefully get him off the board. Again, here comes the satchel charge. Because we just had a time event. And again, it was close to a time event up there anyway. So if I got him off just before the time event, then I can bring him right on the board almost immediately. So that was the key there. He's pressuring these units. This is a huge amount of units here. 2, 3, 4, 5 points of units dead. So I get lucky, and I get a move or advance order. He rallies again. And I think they just... oh, he breaks everyone. He gets to fire again. He breaks... pretty much everyone's just busted up. But I get to move him off with the leader. So he just moves. All the suppressions are gone. And I get another 6 or 7 points. So... and then I just essentially just have to start moving these guys down the road. He puts a wire there. Throws a wire on me from the defense. I believe it was defensive one. And I would just want to put pressure over here because I think I had an ambush or something like that. But now there's only one guy in this location instead of Percival, which he's now out of the building. So essentially this is a time to take advantage of it. And Lauerbach is coming back on over here to put some pressure on as well. So I can try and jam into that building and claim it if I want. And again, the bottom, we're just going to run off the bottom again. We're going to try to do an end a run. Let's see what happens. Smoke in there again. Satchel charge usage. I jump into 8 smoke. He can't. I don't think he could even fire at me. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, he could. Yeah, with a bonus, he could fire on me because my hindrance will reduce his firepower to 0, which I don't think you could take in a 0 attack. So that was a very nice smoke. He does pop me. He did have some good stuff there. He does break me, but I think I had to recover immediately. So don't move unless you have a recover. So, and then everybody else kind of moves. He jumps into close combat. Again, I get lucky on the close combat roll and kill another 2 points. Now, the Molotov cocktail guy in the building is looking pretty grim, but there's tons of wire. And he recovers all the buildings in the back, which drops my points down to 10, which is essentially just all the guys I had moved off already. Otherwise, he'd be back up to plus 10. So all the early removals, all the early moves, I mean, look what turn on is right now. If I wanted to at least start leaving now, there's no way. He just moves to cover the exit. I wanted to move my guys off as early as possible because he really didn't have a lot of units. And just take my shots. And plus I had a whole bunch of recovers in my hand anyway. So, and Molotovs down here kind of don't work because he's got to get close. Or have a leader toss them. So, run away. You got good movement on the road. Gives you an extra bonus movement factor, movement point. And I could run behind the building. So, lots of good things going for you down here if it's not defended. So, again, mortar, I was wanting to move the mortar up, but as you see the foxhole showing up, this is a result of the scenario special rule blasting hexes. Now I actually have cover in these areas, so I kind of like that. So I moved another set of guys off, and those guys were double. So now I'm up to 16. So, and he's taken a number of casualties. My guy's in the open. He actually gets his machine gun and his squad. This is not where you want to be, so I need to get the hell out of Dodge. I think I move everybody. I think he broke, and these guys just essentially get splintered. I think one guy got eliminated. No, he just got reduced, I think. So I just trying to move out of the way. I smoked here to avoid any sort of decent shot there. Good smoke from the rifle unit because he's got a box movement. Drop smoke in there to allow Hunsinger to kind of get the hell out of Dodge. I'm just trying to bait the Molotov shot with the line unit moving in here first. But of course, he's a smart opponent, so he saves the Molotov for the Hunsinger in the big one. So he gets pounded by that. And I think I had to dig it in my hand, so worst comes to worst, I dig in from here. This is kind of a bad thing. It turns my smoke into a blaze, which kind of screws me in terms of moving out if I wanted to. So now I'm kind of committed to busting some ass. So, another time event. Try to rally, but I don't do very well in my rallies. I seem to get suppressed. Satchel charge. Yeah. Oh, I'm just moving him out of the way. Just looking at him. He deck recharge, so he gets his Molotov cocktails back. didn't really want to have that this soon. I want to jump into melee first. Now these guys are in dire straits, especially this guy here. This is not a good spot for me to be in. So, again, luckily I get a dig in, and he adds forces in there. The Pioneer unit moves up, drops a smoke, 9 hindrance, which makes him immune to fire coming in. And I do play Assault Fire, which allows him to toss that satchel charge. We had to look up the rule of the satchel charge. It's the hit shot, so it's a range of 1 hex, but I needed like a 10 to hit. I think I rolled a 25. So pretty high to hit, but not too bad. I don't get a chance to use satchel charges very often, so I'm excited that that went off. I think it bounced off him. I think it suppressed him. I think he caught it and kind of started a little mini fire with it. He jumps me into close combat with Hunsinger, because I think my squad died or routed away, and I had 2 ambushes with me, so he got smoked right off the bat. So therefore, I got to capture the Molotov cocktail at that point. Moving his units up, I move into the building. Move Hunsinger over to the Pioneer to strengthen the unit, and he just starts moving guys back in. So move the kill stack, the big CC kill stack up and about. So just being aggressive where I can. He doesn't have a Molotov cocktail, so I'm not worried about his shots coming in, to be honest. He runs back, so that kind of leaves this guy kind of middle of nowhere. Another time event. We're at sudden death right now. I missed the roll in the sudden death, so we continue to play. The points are 16 German, and 16 German. So here he can, he's still got points there. He hasn't really killed too many German units. I think the dead pile's right here. I've killed a bunch of his guys. So he's in danger of surrendering just by loss of units. And again, I think all of these are close combat. So I want to be I got lucky. You know, it should have gone half and half, so there should be half and half here. But again, I can't rely on that to score me the points. Exiting units does. And even with the VC that he's got in the back, the company, I mean, that's a lot of guys I've exited. So, and I had to exit them early. You can't exit them at the end of the game because you're never going to get those move cards. So keep being aggressive where you need to be. Follow your game plan. Hopefully it'll work out. Percival's going to re-enter the fight and pretty much come over and kick everyone's ass if he gets into the play. So I move my guys down bot. So I think these guys got to move. Got a malfunction. Doesn't really affect the play too much. I move him over here. He pops the minefield on me. It bounces off. My guys just dance on the minefield heads and run away. And then we move the Pioneer and the Hunsinger again. Close combat kills is what we're looking for. Got to use the Pioneer to do it. To be honest with you, the Pioneer kind of won me the game. You know, it's high morale, high firepower, close combat prowess. Now he's got Hunsinger in there. You're looking at a 10 firepowered here. So I'm a +5 in close combat without any ambushes. So this is pretty nasty. Pioneer units are pretty nasty, and I learned that pretty quick playing against I think some of the British engineer units. So they're pretty powerful in close combat. That's kind of what I do here. I had 2 ambushes in my hand. I only throw 1. I didn't need 2 because I want to save 2 against maybe Percival or the other Molotov guy. +8. If you can't win the +8, you know, I already actually had the advantage card, so I could use the advantage if I needed to. But a +8, you better not miss that roll. And I rolled really well, killed my guys, and that's the Scenario Special will drop more foxholes. So Percival came again. This is what I didn't want to see. Percival coming down, covering the road. And my guys are kind of out in the open here, so Percival's got good range to that. So those are 7 shots, pretty much. I back away because I'm a coward. Go back onto the wire, and then Percival re-enters the building. He gets reinforcements with HMG, maybe a little late in the game, but that's a beautiful unit to have. He chose between an HMG and a 152mm off-board artillery. And I think he chose well because he's only got 1 leader. If he had another leader over this area, the OBA would be a good choice just to destroy units. but I think the HMG was the better choice. And then I dropped smoke. I dropped smoke to, essentially pursue my advance to deter the HMG from firing. The turn sudden death marker. I missed the sudden death roll, of course. It's like, yeah, I don't want to drag this on anymore because you never know. He's starting to get all of his units together, and he's got a sweet HMG that could just start punishing. So it's like, yeah, I'll throw the card to reroll, and I happen to get a 5, which would end the game there. So as you see, the wonderful map, all the foxholes on the map except for this one were off-board artillery generated, so that really changes the dynamic of moves. Allows me to move over here more easily, especially over here with the cover. The wire rubble, really fun effect. It actually had a decent effect because these are areas that I was going to move through, and so it really curtails your movement. There was a wire here, as you remember from the beginning of the game, and the off-board artillery, or the harassing fire, whatever case I call it, the bombardment, removes the fortification and then places either foxhole or the wire. So pretty cool. I was hoping that would happen early in the game, but that way I'd have a cover and then going across, but to no avail. Again, this guy Lauerbach didn't do anything. He just kind of came on. These guys just happened to come on too as well. But there you have it. Final tally. Germans 18. Again, only due to the ability of the Pioneer to cause massive disruption early in the game. And that was a key component. His morale, his firepower, and my luck in killing literally everything in close combat took the day for the Germans. So very fun game. It was kind of teetering on the edge either way. And again, I didn't want to deal with the OBA. I want to get my points early and hopefully score some points later. But thank you for watching. Go out there, play some Combat Commander. They've got good stuff for that. And if you're interested, join the ladder. Patrick will be pleased to include you in the monthly plays of this wonderful, spectacular game and chaotic game. I love it, and it's just a great game. So thank you, and have a great day.